Hey there, welcome. Hi, I'm Mojo Medium. Give me just a second to get all my stuff in order here. And we can always edit this out later, right? Okay, don't do that. There we go. That's better. Mo better. Okay, and you can see. Okay, we're good. We're good. Let's go to work, shall we? Welcome to Ask Mojo Anything. I am your hostess with the mostest, Mojo Medium. I am a spirituality mentor, manifestation genius, and a party girl. No, a psychic medium. That's right. I am looking so freckly today. I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to ignore it. You can just like it or not. It's okay. So, where are we? Yes, I need to tell you what's going on. Are you unpopular? Do you pop out at parties? Seriously, I work with women, especially women at midlife, who are wondering, is this all there is? Is this all there is, my friend? Okay, so I've had songs stuck in my head all day. Ain't no mountain high enough. And what was the other one earlier? It was a really old song, older than that one. It'll come back. All right, let's get going. So here's what I do. Every Wednesday at 3:00, I go live here. And then later I add it to the podcast. And I answer questions. I answer your questions about spirituality and about manifestation, law of attraction, about, oh gosh, what don't I answer questions about? So you're welcome to add questions here, and I will be happy to answer them. But in the meantime, and you can always message me. You'll find me on the web at mojomedium.com. You can message me there. You can message me here. You can comment. You can email me at mojomedium@gmail.com. If you can't find me, you're not really trying. So, I'm kind of all over. I'm also on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and this and that. So, I'm on TikTok too. I'm having some fun on TikTok. And that's where I just do my fun stuff. That's just for me. Okay, so message me your questions or comment with your questions about spirituality, manifestation, law of attraction, worthiness, meditation. I'm kind of an expert on that too. Medical intuition, psychic stuff, woo-woo stuff, whatever you need to know. All right, so here's an older question. That's not that old, actually. And I'm going to answer this for you. Let's see here. Okay, just keeping an eye on my stuff here, making sure I'm getting all of your comments and so forth. Okay, first question. A viewer writes, how do I stop feeling so stuck? I feel like I know I'm meant to be an entrepreneur and work for myself. But right now, I can barely afford my bills with my job. I'm depressed, anxious, and feel like I'm trapped in a never-ending cycle. Any advice? Now, this is a perfect example of what I was just saying about what I do. I work with women at midlife who are going, any advice? I feel stuck. I'm trapped in a never-ending cycle. What do I do? What do I want to be when I grow up? Where am I going? What am I here for? Why am I here? Blah, 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 right? You know what I'm talking about. So here's my answer. Oh, you bet. You've come to the right person. First, though, I do want to recommend that you see a therapist, even if only for a few sessions or even one. I say that because you mentioned feeling depressed and anxious. And while there may be very good reasons for that, due to what's going on in your life, therapy may give you the boost you need to get over that depressed and anxious hump, or more like a hole in the ground, right? Because it's a depression. It's been depressed. Okay. So then I put in my little, I have a little meme that says every talent fulfilled and used in service to others, parenthetically, for money or not, blesses both the server and the served. And this is pertinent because this person said, I feel like I know I am meant to be an entrepreneur and work for myself, which is great. I am the same. I waited until the universe kicked me out of my job. I got laid off, and then just waited for a few months looking for a job. And then one day woke up with, this is what you're supposed to do. And that was my first business. That was in 1999. Okay, here's the rest of my answer. Now I'm going to give you some practical advice and then some spiritual advice. Hold on to your hat and keep your arms and legs inside the ride at all times. By the way, you can read this and other answers on Quora.com, Quora, and you'll have to search for Susan Morrow-Johnson, which is really hard to spell. I'll give you the link when I publish this. Okay. So how do you get unstuck? First, I heartily applaud you for your self-awareness and your desire to be an entrepreneur. I speak from experience when I say that if that is your destiny, it will happen with you or without you. 20 plus years ago, I was laid off from my job. It took a few months, but one day I woke up with a clear knowing of what I would do, and I started my first business. Since then, I've become much better at following divine guidance to do what I feel is my calling. I don't have to wait for the universe to kick me out of my work or kick me in the butt to go do what I am supposed to do. I believe that first business was to get me started as an entrepreneur because I had no idea then what I was, which is what I am now. And I probably don't even know what I'm going to be 10, 20 years down the road. My point is that feeling like you do, it might be easier on you to be proactive about starting that first business. Here's what I did. This is the practical part. I don't know if you like your current job, but I liked mine, and you could still glean useful tips from this. I started with my former job description and an operations manual that I had created for my department. Well, it was more like a list of and a description of the services that we offered. With those two documents in front of me, I wrote down all of the tasks that I enjoyed in my job. And voila, I had a menu of services. And any task I didn't like did not make the cut. And that is true. It's like, I didn't like dealing with this, not going to offer that at all. If a client needs it, I will farm it out. So then I made a list of everyone I knew in business in the entire city, about 250 people. And if you think you don't know that many people, later on when I was the networking queen of Austin, or at least one of the princesses, that was the word that went around. Everybody knows 250 people. So when you get to know someone and they know 250 people, you've just increased your network by double, right? All right. So I made a list of everyone I knew in the entire city who was in business of any kind, not business owners, but people who worked in corporate. About 250 people. I included vendors and contractors, old bosses and coworkers, even people I had interviewed with since I got laid off. And then I started calling them. I told all those people what I was doing and who I would be doing it for. And I asked them to keep me in mind, not only for their own business where they worked, but if they knew of someone who needed my services. And a short way down that list, someone said, oh, my wife is a CFO of a business that could use your help. And that was the beginning. Within weeks, I had my first contract. And a few weeks after that, my second. I had to hire help. I had more work than I could handle. And I made more money that first year than I ever had. I paid myself. I was able to pay myself double my most recent salary. So, at that time, one of my friends said, you'll make more money working for yourself than you ever did working for anybody else. You'll also work harder for it. But it's worth it, right? It's much worth it. Okay. And that brings us to the spiritual part. That business, as much as I loved it, and as well as it did, ended. Yep, business dried up, and I closed my doors and got a job, and it sucked. I was devastated. I didn't understand why I was given this obsessive inspiration and the opportunities to follow through and do the work if I had to stop doing it after a couple of years. Yes, as with your feelings of depression and anxiety, like this person I'm talking to, that business, as much as I loved, part of it was the material world part. The market shifted and there was less need for my services, and I didn't know how to regroup, get to my core services, rebrand, offer packages at lower rates, et cetera, et cetera. The business stuff that I know a lot about now. But there was also the spiritual part of it. That business was just to get me moving in the right direction, to be an entrepreneur and experience the exhilaration of it, to feel the strength of the entrepreneur's destiny, which is what you feel now. And that's why it's what you were meant to do. let's talk a little bit about manifestation and law of attraction. If like attracts like, then you have to be the entrepreneur, right? Act as if, right? But most people don't know how to do that. Now, I have a whole program that I teach called Make Magic with MoJo, but I'll just give you some quick basics. Recognize that you are worthy of being, doing, having what you want. This is number one with manifestation, worthiness. Okay, your soul is a piece of the divine, and that alone makes you worthy. You know, we all have this chunk of the divine within us that we call our soul. I like to call it Chunky Divine. That's also my stripper name. You have value simply by existing. And despite what your mom may have told you, you actually are the center of the universe, your universe. That's not to say that you shouldn't be empathetic, sympathetic, or selfish. That's not to say that you should not be empathetic or sympathetic. You should not be selfish, but you should be self-full. Using your gifts in service to others for money or not is what we are all here to do. When you know what your talents are, and I promise you have at a minimum 2 that are meant to be shared, and when you use those, you feel good. When you use them in service to others, you feel good and others are served. Yay! Yes, even if you get paid for your services. Don't ever be shy about that. You're worthy, remember? Recognizing that you are worthy of being an entrepreneur makes it far more likely to happen. Just that in itself. Okay, long enough sermon. I hope this helps, and I have faith in you. All right, so that's a good question. Let's see what else we've got to give you answers to today. All right, let's do another one. This is coming from Cora. This was a question that came up. What has your experience with the law of attraction been? I want you to know, by the way, that part of my choosing random questions to answer for you, part of that is intuitive. I mean, yes, I'm just going kind of glancing around Cora, but I called on all of our angels and guides in the beginning and said, guide me to the right questions for what you need. All right, what you need. Extremely positive. That's my experience with law of attraction. I didn't hear about it until about 20 years ago, but when I heard it, I got it immediately as if I had always known. It took me a number of those 20 years to figure out how to use it well, though. After working on it, trying different methods, meditating, reading about it, etc., I now consider myself an expert. In recent years, I've manifested a brand new car, and I was only going for a gently used one. A husband/marriage, a house that I love, extra money, and a lot more, and I'm always going for the next thing. Recently, I started working on changing something and had a response within 2 days. It actually kind of startled me, and I pulled back on that manifestation. I felt like, whoa, that's too fast. It even freaked me out. So I teach manifestation based on my experience, and I help other people actually create what they want in their lives instead of settling for the same old dookie. So if you feel like you've been settling for the same old dookie all your life, well, you know where to find me. Okay. Let's see here. Here's a good one. If you've ever had any sort of psychic or woo-woo phenomena in your own life, someone said, I used to be comfortable with spirits, spiritual signs, visions, etc., but have become fearful and confused by the randomness of what I experienced. What happened? And how do I regain my comfort level? So I said, hi, here's something that I received as an answer when I asked my angels and guides, what if I can't do this anymore? They said, you cannot unlearn what you've learned. You can't unknow what you know. And the reason I say this is that you can become more comfortable again. It will take some conscious thought and work on your part. Start by writing down how you used to feel and how you feel now. See if you can figure out why you felt and feel those ways. Those ways? Okay, I'll interrupt myself to say that I sense you had a traumatic, didn't have to be a big trauma, experience with something spiritual that led you toward fear and confusion. It could be something to do with religion. Hey, Sharon, how are you? I'm glad to see you, Sharon, because we've just now gotten back in touch. And so this is a great way for you to kind of get to know where I am, and I'd love to know where you are, what you're up to, and what you've been up to for the last 40 years. All right. After you've done some journaling about this, spend time in meditation. Set an intention before your meditation to find clarity with this issue. Trust that you can become comfortable again. And one more thing, anything that you sense in the non-physical cannot hurt you in the physical. I tell people this about earthbound spirits especially, which is what you would probably call ghosts. If you sense something that frightens you, it's actually a manifestation of your own fear. Speak to it in love and it will transform or go away. And that is the nutshell version of that lecture. For example, I was awakened by a spirit in the middle of the night many years ago. It seemed to try to enter my body through my feet, and I did not like the feeling. So I said, I pray to my angels, and immediately I heard, say, I love. And I said, I love, and the entity was immediately gone. You can say, I love you, God loves you, there's only love here, etc. Whatever feels like you are speaking to this scary thing in love. I would love to know more about the randomness you are confused by. Let me know. So there's another one. If you've ever had any sort of psychic phenomenon happen to you, or if you used to, sense things as a child and you don't anymore, that you can get that back. And you don't have to be scared. Let's see here. Oh, I know I did that one last week. Okay. Now here's a more real world kind of question based on my experience as a young widow, like you, Sharon. So here's the question on Quora. What is something that someone said to you during your grieving that stuck with you? And my answer is my husband died suddenly when I was 31 and our children were just babies, aged 7 and 3. In the surreal and painful days immediately after his death, our house was filled with visitors, mourners, love, and grief. One of the women who came to hold my hand had been widowed just a couple of years earlier. She was older than I was, and her children were grown, but she was a relatively young widow, only in her 50s. As I sat next to her on the couch, talk going on all around me about my beautiful young husband, it suddenly occurred to me that this woman might have some advice. I turned to her and asked, what did you do when your husband died? That was it. Just what did you do? And her thoughtful answer was, oh, I just worked until I couldn't. That advice actually got me through a lot. I worked and I took care of my children. I frequently visited my mom in another city, as I always had. I took the children to my in-laws, as my husband and I had always done. And I continued my relationship with my in-laws. Fearing insomnia and overwhelmed from grief, I made sure I was exhausted when I lay down to sleep. Work can be a balm for a sore heart. Staying busy allowed me to process grief in bits and pieces so I didn't crater completely. I was able to put my mind on my children and my job until I was emotionally stronger. I've always been grateful to my friend for her answer, and she may not have any idea how much it helped me. All right, we're going to do one more question. Let me go back over here and see if there's anything else. Okay, we'll do one more question, and then we'll wrap up. Let's see here. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just like scanning these and thinking, which one do the viewers need to know? Let me scroll on down a little bit. Okay. So the question is, am I wrong that psychics can't predict the future with a so-called extrasensory perception? I said yes. It's possible that some people do not believe psychic abilities are possible because they have not experienced them for themselves. I don't mean getting a reading or attending a psychic salon. I mean having your own psychic abilities. And a lot of non-believers have been told that it's all bullshit and they would be stupid to believe it. Fair enough. A little skepticism is certainly good and even wise. It keeps you from getting taken by people who actually are charlatans. And there are plenty of them. They give the rest of us a bad name. But the truth is, it's real. I may not believe it either, but I've got it. So I kind of don't have any choice. In fact, I ignored my abilities and their evidence until I was well into my 30s. And my gift isn't perfect. I'm not good at finding lost things, for example. I can't predict the winning lottery numbers. But otherwise, I seldom miss. And of course, I don't think anybody can predict the lottery numbers, although I read about a woman who won the lottery 4 different times. Kind of makes me wonder about that woman. Okay. I don't know if this is so-called extrasensory perception as you call it. You can call it whatever you want. I call it the collective or spirit, my own version of God. And that's where I believe it comes from. Like any talent, some have more than others. I can learn to play tennis, but I will never beat Serena Williams or get anywhere near her. But Serena was born to play tennis, and I was born to be a psychic medium. There you go. All right, I'm going to wrap up questions now, unless you have any yourself. And I will be posting this to the podcast. It's called Ask MoJo Anything, and it's available wherever you get your podcasts. Sometimes I don't get the audio up until Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Monday. So please be patient if you're looking for that. In the meantime, you can watch the replay of the video on YouTube or Facebook right away. Nice. So then you can go back and get the other questions. And you can also check out the replays of other shows as well. Again, you'll find me on the web at mojomedium.com. I really want to appeal to you, if you haven't checked out the Mighty Mojo Club yet. That's where a lot of questions like this and much, much, much deeper get answered. It's perfect for you if you are wondering, why am I here? Is that all there is? There must be more. And so until next time, I remain Mojo Medium, and I will see you on one of those social media. And I hope that you're having a great week. Take care.